So, what are the three most common mistakes that lead to you blowing it and trying to retain and hire and procure that next new therapist? I'm going to share them with you. So, mistake number one that most people make when they're trying to procure that next new employee, let's just talk clinicians for this sake right now. I've got somebody who applied, they got a great resume, we walk them in, we bring them back, we're sitting down on the interview, and all I'm doing is talking about my practice and who we are and what we do and our EMR and what our philosophy is and where I'm going. I'm selling, selling, selling. Nobody wants to be sold. I have often said that people seek people that they know, like, and trust. The people that you know, like, and trust are the people that you chemically connect with. They're not rubbing you the wrong way. You know, I like going and buying new cars when the salesman knows how to be a salesman or saleswoman and allows me the space and breathing room and allows me to communicate what's important to me. Hears me, feels me, knows what type of driver I am, understands my history. So mistake number one, trying to sell the candidate or trying to sell the prospect, trying to sell the therapist on why you're the best place for them. No, you shouldn't do that. Let's reverse that. You should spend your time trying to get to know the person as to what they're looking for. Why are they looking now? If you haven't, here's a successful action. One of the things I like to do personally is I like to understand, like when the person submits a resume and they're coming in for the interview, I research the employer they're at now. I go online and I learn everything about the place they're at now. And the reason I want to do that is because they took that job. What was it that I can glean or I can learn from doing my research about their previous employer that attracted them in the first place to take that job? And then when I interview them, I'm going to interview along those lines. You accepted that position for a particular reason. Maybe it was a phase in their career and it offered everything they wanted, and maybe it doesn't. Or maybe it didn't follow through on its promises. Or who knows? Maybe it was just the money. Maybe the person just threw a $15,000 sign-on bonus. I've seen that too. People are doing crazy things. So when you attract somebody because of money, then they always think it's about the money. That's not going to be anything that you would do. So that's mistake number one, trying to sell your candidate and not, instead of selling yourself, trying to be more of a purchaser of them. Like, what is it that they have to offer? Where's their head? Where's their mind? What's their future look like? And I want to learn all about that. And I'll do my research about their past, and then I'll talk about in present time, and then I want to talk in the future. Mistake number two, thinking that it is all about the logistics and the money. It is not about the money for the good people. Some people, yes, and they're probably not the ones you want. But for the good people, it's not all about the money. So mistake number two is thinking it's all about the money and you're trying to give them money. You're just trying to throw money at them. Why don't you step back and say this? Instead of that, say, we have a premier employment program. And in that premier employment program, we employ all the accelerating factors that would boost one's career. There's an earned income growth potential within this position. We do pay for performance with a base salary and benefits, and we have no cap on the amount of money you can make. And the amount of exchange the amount of financial exchange we can share with you is solely dependent upon the reasons why we all went to PT school, to give an abundance of care, to help as many people as we possibly can, and give the highest degree of quality care. We do not have a shared risk model here. We have a pay for performance model here. And we employ all of those strategies here for you as the clinician. And it's completely within your reach to have it go any way you want it to go. You can have a nice, healthy base salary and compensation, or you can really double down on those student loans and earn an extra $500 to $1,000 to even more per month by benefiting on leaning into our pay for performance model, and still have some work-life balance because you're being bonused off of quality, efficiency, and quantity of care. So there you go. So make sure that they understand that this isn't about the money. This is about the exchange and abundance. Along with that, you want to tack on, what else do we have here that's in exchange and abundance? Our education model, our education program, our mentorship program, our advanced placement program with an employment ladder where you can move up to be a senior therapist, you can move up to be a clinical director, you can move up to be a junior partner with shadow stock within our organization. All of this is on the red carpet, already in existence, already scripted out, so that you can just keep moving up through your employment ladder, through your career development, and achieve higher levels of exchange, higher levels of a compensation plan, but all the while never losing the family fun environment, never losing the work-life balance that we hold so dear here in our business. We're not going to go corporate, franchise, whatever. And I know franchise, I'm not bashing on you. I'm just saying it's a mentality, it's a stigma. We're not going to be all about the numbers where that's where it lives and dies. So make sure that that's very well communicated to them. The third mistake that is made during the interview process is you fail to get their commitment. You fail to read the indicators that this is the place for them. And then you're just throwing out an offer for them to leave and shop it around. One of the things I tell everybody is do not give an offer with all the finer points and details of the position you have if they're not willing to do, I don't know, somersaults or something for getting this position. Like, this position is something they don't want taken away from them. So where have you gone wrong in the conversation that has them sitting at the end of phase 5 of the interview process, still holding all the cards of control and calling the shots and wanting to have this offer so that they can go, I've got 4 or 5 more interviews. I want to go see who's got the best and what they're offering. And they may not tell you that, but that's actually what they're thinking, right? Well, the third biggest mistake that leads to that lack of commitment, lack of moving forward, lack of their your ability to read them is you lost control in the interview process. At some point, the pivot of control shifted over to the candidate. I'm not saying be suppressive and be a dictator. That's not it at all. But this is your camp. You invited them into your home. You're conducting an interview because you're holding the bag of nickels. I mean, if this is an $80,000 a year position and, I don't know, that's $240,000, I assume, over 3 years that I have to offer this person. Plus, so don't lose sight of that. You've lost your mental position. You've lost your position of power in the interview, and somehow they took it and ran away with it. So you got to bring that back in, right? So the third biggest mistake is you fail to get commitment. You fail to read the applicant's, full loyalty to the messaging that you're sharing with them, and so that you don't have their agreement that this is the place for them, and yet you're trying to make an offer. So that mistake, the root of it is that you lost control of the conversation. So how do you get that one back? You bring them to the end of the interview and you say, well, based on what you saw here and the people you met and the tour you had and what we've talked about, our philosophy, our gamification, our high-tech digital therapy treatment approaches that we have here, our community outreach program, is this a place that you see yourself being and flourishing and prospering and having a nice professional journey here? Is this a place that if I put the position on paper for you with the pay, benefits, compensation, hours, and all that stuff that we can agree on and build that bridge, is this something you could accept here now or by this time tomorrow? Is this the place you see for yourself? Because I can build that bridge. Well, yeah, I mean, there's nothing here I don't like. I love everything that you've shared with me. I'd love to see what the offer is. I have in mind what I'm looking for to make this next move, and I just like to bridge that gap too. Well, good, then I have that as well. So are you saying if we can make that happen, you're willing to accept either here now or by this time tomorrow? I'm interviewing multiple people, and I want to make sure that I take that down if in fact I've found my candidate. In fact, this is a match that you're looking for, like I feel it's definitely a match that I'm looking for. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I'm absolutely saying that. Now, of course, I'm muttering my words a little bit. You could probably say it better than I just did on camera here for you. But basically, you gain their agreement. Like, yeah, I'm ready to make a decision. Like, this is everything I'm looking for. Let's talk. Let's talk turkey. Let's get it done. Good. Well, let's get into the particulars of this position. To start with, I want you to know this is in no way meant to be a negotiation. I'm not interested in negotiating with anybody I hire. I'm interested in having a conversation. So let's have a discussion about what this position is, what it entails, and what our benefit packages are. And then we'll trim around the edges to make sure that it's a good fit for you. And then you go into the 8 key things, right? Pay, benefits, retirement, health insurance, Con Ed, all that kind of stuff. and you get into it. Very matter of fact, on a piece of paper, just write it all down and then spin it around and you're talking to them and it's like, how do you feel about that? Here's another last little tip and we'll wrap it up here. At that point in time, expect a concession. Expect the person to ask you for a concession. Well, I'd really like to just make, $5,000 more than this. This is kind of where I'm at now. Again, $5,000 is like $98 a week, right? No big deal. So I'm not going to lose a person over $98 a week, but I'm surely going to listen to them. And I'm going to say, well, okay, I'm going to sigh. I'm going to flinch. Well, that's outside of what we're offering for this position. The person needs to understand, they need to read you that they're asking something of you that wasn't on the table. So you're not being a drama queen, but you're definitely making it known like this is an ask, Well, if I go up to 5,000, then I'm going to need 3 closing nights, not 2, because I standardly have 2. If you can do that, I can do this. How's that feel for you? And we take our last patient at 6. So we could pick the 3 nights that would work best and we can roll from there. Yeah, I have no problem with that. My wife works late, some evenings, or my husband works late. Yeah, I can do that. So in recap, the 3 biggest mistakes I see as to why people go through all the exercises of interviewing somebody only to lose them in the end is number 1, they're trying too hard to sell the position. Number 2, they're thinking it's all about the money and they're communicating about the money. And number 3, the most important, you lost control in the interview. Therefore, you failed to get commitment from the applicant on the position you have. If you put your focused attention on those things and make sure that at the end of the interview process, if in fact there's an ask, a concession, that you get one in return. If you have that level of exchange and abundance with each and every applicant, that is how you're going to start off that relationship on the right foot so that for their entire journey working for you, I'm thinking you guys are going to be doing great things together. And that's my message to you on how to hire the best and the brightest people and not lose them at the end of the interview process when you're trying to make that close. Best of luck to you guys, and thank you for listening to us. And click like and subscribe. I really appreciate it. It helps me to reach more people and help more people just like you.